Alright, in this video I'm going to discuss how to find the IQR, or the interquartile range, of this data set, and I have 20 observations here, and I'm also going to show how to do this in Excel, and I'm going to show that the answer that you get in Excel is actually, it's different than the answer that you get when you do it by hand. Which happens in particular when you have data sets that are of a sample size that is like an even number, and then especially when you have data sets of sample size that are it's divisible by 4. So 20 is divisible by 4. So it just makes Excel's calculations slightly different than what you would get when you do it by hand. So I'm going to go ahead and show that with this example here. Okay, so first off, let's remember what is IQR. IQR is the third quartile minus the first quartile. Okay, so actually let me write that up here. So IQR, what we need to find, the interquartile range, is the third quartile minus the first quartile. And so let me go ahead and find the 5-number summary. So that's the min, the first quartile, the second quartile, the third quartile, and the max. Okay, remember the second quartile is also just the median. Okay, so starting with the min, notice I've already ordered my data. If your data is not ordered, obviously that needs to be a first step, okay? These are all measures of the data's standing in where its rank is. So having that data ordered, extremely important first step. So the smallest observation is 2. The largest observation is 18. Okay. Now the next piece that you want to find whenever you're doing a 5-number summary is the median. Okay. And how do you find the median? Well, the median is the middle number. So let's just cross off from each end until we get to the center. Okay. When you have a large data set like 20, it does take you a few minutes, but you'll get there. Just make sure you keep on doing it on both sides. Be careful. You'll get there eventually. We're almost there. Okay. Well, I got to the center, and the median is going to have to be between these two numbers. So it's not any one number, okay, or any one of my observations. The median is not a particular observation for this data set. Rather, it's between 6 and 7, okay? Because when I crossed off each side, I got all the way to the center, and there it was between these two numbers, okay? And that's going to happen every time you have an even numbered data set. So 20 observations, it's always going to be between two numbers like that, all right? So between two numbers, it's between 6 and 7. Average those numbers to figure out exactly what's between them. You'll get 6.5, okay? All right, now, finding the first quartile. Now, let me write 6.5 here. Okay, to find the first quartile, that's going to be directly between this first observation here and right here. Now, usually you don't include the median, but median, it's not a real observation. It's the 6.5. So I'm just naturally not going to include it when I am finding my first quartile. Okay, so I'll cross off 2, then 6. 2, 6, 3, 6, 4, 5, 4, 5. Okay, it happened again, right? It's directly between 4 and 5. All right, and that's going to happen every time you have a data set that has a number of observations that's divisible by 4. It's always going to be directly between two numbers like that. So 20 is evenly divisible by 4, so there's 20 observations here, and that's why you're seeing that happen, okay? So no problem. Let's just average 4 and 5, okay? 4.5. So it's right here at 4.5. And let me change my color once again. Now to find the third quartile, I'll start at the 7, then the 18. 7, 13, 7, 12, 8, 10, 9, 10, and once again, I lined up directly here, okay, between 9 and 10. So just average 9 and 10, and I get 9.5. All right, so now I'm ready to find the interquartile range. right? I have my quartiles. So the interquartile range is going to be the third quartile, that 9.5, right? Minus the first quartile, which is that 4.5. All right? What do you get when you do that subtraction? You get 5. Okay? So the interquartile range is 5. The IQR is 5. All right? Now, if you're using Excel, you're going to get different answers. It has to do with the way Excel calculates these guys. So let me pull up Excel and show you. So I have the exact same data here. Okay? Exact same data, I promise. I'm going to scroll in so that you guys can see here. There. All right. So first thing I want to do is find the quartile. Now, there's these two different quartile functions in Excel. First one, it excludes the endpoints, and the second one includes endpoints. And that's basically why these are different answers, okay? So first thing, if I do excluding endpoints, and I want to find the first quartile, so this would be Q1, I get 4.25. Now if I were to find Q3, again, excluding endpoints, and I highlight my data, and I do 3 for the third quartile, I get 9.75. And IQR is the difference between these two, and I get 5.5. Not the same answer I had, right? When I did it by hand. First, second, or let me do third, first, third. Okay, so now that's with the exclude function. Now if I were to do quartile and include endpoints, highlight my data, the first quartile, quartile, and then include endpoints, highlight my data, 3, and then do this difference, and we get yet again a different answer. Okay, so this is just entirely because, remember, we had to find the average between two observations, and Excel is basically trying to do that, but it's doing it in a different way. Okay, so when it excluded the endpoints, it basically undersold where the first quartile is. And then when it included the endpoints, it basically oversold where the first quartile was. Yeah, so I know it's strange, and without going into some nitty-gritty detail about how Excel is interpolating here, it's really hard to kind of talk about why exactly these are different. But for an intro class, really you just need to understand that you can get different answers, and if you're expected to do it by hand, you probably don't want to be relying on Excel too much. Instead, you probably want to be using this method here. Okay.